Hello my craft friends, are you ready to DIY craft 3 fun fall inspired projects? If so, let's go ahead and get started. For our first DIY, we're going to be working with one of these Hello Fall word cutouts and a 14-inch wood round. We start the project by removing the twine hanger from our Hello Fall word cutout. Then we're going to fill the hanger holes with some all-purpose wood filler. And set it aside to dry. And while that's drying, we're going to paint our wood round in a beautiful harvest gold. Okay, now that we have it painted gold and it's dried, we've painted both sides and the edge. I wanted to add a little bit of fun design to mine, and I was kind of going between a large stencil and a stripe. So I decided to go with the stripe, and to do that, I'm just going to use the painter's tape method. I'm going to lay down a piece of painter's tape. Then I will bring in a smaller piece of the painter's tape as a guide right below my larger piece of painter's tape. And how many times can I say painter's tape? Anyway, I will continue this process on all the way to the bottom of my wood round. This is such a fun technique. Now you can just paint your stripes any color you prefer. I'm going to be painting mine white. And after you have your stripes painted in and they've dried, you'll then peel your tape. I think it looks so pretty, but I'm going to do a little extra step and I'm going to distress mine. I love how that yellow peeks through those white stripes. That looks perfect. We're going to set it aside and we're going to bring back in our Hello Fall word cutout. And we're going to sand that wood filler down flush with our wood. That looks perfect, nice and flat and smooth. Now I'm going to paint mine, and I'm going to spray paint it in this Midnight Blue by Rust-Oleum. It is such a pretty navy blue. And you'll see as I'm spraying it, it kind of goes on like a lighter blue, but it dries in a very beautiful dark navy blue, as I'm showing you here. And this next step is very easy. We're just going to glue down our Hello Fall sign to our wood round. And to do that, I'm just using some wood glue, but not just any wood glue. I'm using the Gorilla hot glue. And that stuff is nails, tough as nails, I tell ya. Then we're left with this beautiful piece of fall home decor. Now you could leave it just like this and use it on your mantle or in a display somewhere, or you can add a hanger to it and use it for your front door. guys think of DIY number 1? I really liked how it turned out, and I'm trying to get out of my color rut with different colors, and I thought the navy blue and the golden harvest yellow and then that little pop of white, I thought that was a beautiful color combination. What do you guys think? Well, now we're moving on to DIY number 2. For this DIY, we're going to be working with this fun wood round that also says Hello Fall, a wood canvas measuring 12 by 12 inches, and some paper of your choice. I'm going to be using this beautiful Christmas wrapping paper. Now to start our project, we're going to be cutting out a piece of the wrapping paper the size of our wood canvas. And to do that, I just measured it out. I also left a little bit of leeway around the edges of my wood canvas because I'm going to be trimming it with scissors along with fine-tuning it with some fine grit sandpaper. That way, leaving a little space around it gives you something to work with. Once we have that cut out, we're just going to set it aside because I wanted to stain the edges of my wood canvas. And I'm going to be using some of this Wax Antique Stain by Waverly. Now that I have my side stained, I'm going to take my piece outside. I'm going to spray it with a good coat of this Craft Bond spray adhesive, and we're going to attach our paper to the front side. Once that's dried, we bring it back inside. We're going to trim it with some sharp scissors and finish it off with a fine grit sandpaper. Now for this next step, we're going to be using some of that antique wax by Waverly, and we're going to age the front side of our paper by applying the wax to the surface. I love this technique. It really adds an old vintage style to the paper. Now that the stain is dried, we're going to be working with our wood round. And what I love about this wood round is it has a D-ring on the back with a little screw, so you don't have that hanger hole to contend with when you're trying to craft with it. Once I had my D-hanger removed, we're now just going to glue this beautiful little wood round to the front side of our canvas. Then we're left with this cute little wood canvas. So what do you guys think? I think number 2 turned out quite fun. And I love the actual simplicity of it, and I love that I didn't add a bow. It's so hard sometimes. I always just want to add bows to things. I don't know what that is about crafters and their bows, but anyway. But now we're going to move on to DIY number 3, and this one has a bit of a whimsical touch. So let's go ahead and get started. Now for this DIY, we're going to be working with one of these wood cutout banners from Hobby Lobby, along with your favorite scrapbook paper. And what we're going to be doing is quite simple. We're going to be attaching our scrapbook paper to our wood cutouts. And you can use one of 3 ways to do that. You can use a purple glue stick, you can use Mod Podge, or you can use the Craft Bond spray adhesive. But you do have to cover your twine if you're going to use the spray adhesive. So for that, I opted to use the glue stick, but in hindsight, I wish I would have taken the time to cover the twine with some painter's tape and then spray adhesive the paper to the front side of each of the cutouts. I also wish I would have bought a piece of scrapbook paper for each wood cutout. But I thought I could make 3 work, and I did, but in hindsight, like I said, you always want to do things differently, and I would have bought a piece of paper for each wood cutout. Or I maybe would have alternated between maybe a pattern and the cute little doggy and pumpkin paper. I probably would have done that. But either way, I think it turned out adorable. Now that we have that done, and like I said, to use my 3 pieces, I had to glue a couple on and then cut it out and then glue the rest of them, cover the rest of them with the excess paper. And that's what I'm doing right here, just cutting my pumpkin out so I can use the other part of the scrapbook paper. I'm also doing it the same thing with the leaf. I did the ends, the 2 ends, and then I worked my way in on each cutout piece. Now that we have them roughly glued on, no pun intended, we're going to take some sandpaper and just fine tune the edges of our shapes. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was kind of an arduous task to do all of these, but I think the outcome is so adorable and worth the effort. Now, I'm just going to add a little more detail to mine with some simple raffia bows at the top of each of my wood cutouts. I love the whimsy of this cute little scrapbook paper too. So, what did you think of DIY number 3? I think it turned out quite cute with those little dogs and their pumpkins. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And if you're still in the crafting spirit, go ahead and click on this fall playlist that I've created for you, and I'll see you there.